Greetings, Rajee here. So it was a beautiful Saturday, the beginning of summer, in the Mount Airy neighborhood of Philadelphia, PA, here in the USA. The year was 1977. No, 1976. Oh my God, I can't keep track. The years are going by so fast. But I think I had just turned 9, and my sister had just turned 5. And we were happy because summer had just started. We had, summer vacation ahead of us. And it was all about like no school and let's have fun. So my mom always has loved to go to flea markets and consignment shops and thrift stores and Goodwills and places like that. She's always loved yard sales. And her thing is someone else's trash can be someone else's treasure. And actually she's pretty good at finding some really cool things at places like that. That's her. She has a gift for that. So anyway, this Saturday, the Unitarian church in our neighborhood, not too far from the house, they were having like a fair, well, it was kind of like a flea market slash little fair or festival. And my mom wanted to go. So, of course, we kids went, my sister and I. And at first, like, oh my God, like, my sister and I, we would be like oftentimes we'd be like, Mom, are you ready? Like, can we go? Because when my mom gets in a thrift store, honey, she can be there for hours, okay? That's like her candy store basically. But anyway, when we got there, my sister and I got happy. We were happy because we saw that it was also like a little fair, or for lack of a better phrase, or festival going on. So they had like booths and different foods that they were selling. And honey, I've always been a girl that loves to eat. And so we were walking through the festival, and I think well, those hot dogs smelled so good. I can almost smell them today. My sister and I, we got a hot dog, and we were just kind of like walking through, and then I saw a fortune teller booth, and the lady was standing outside. It was like a little, actually like a little tent that you walked in, and she was standing outside, and she struck me because she was pretty exotic looking. She and it kind of like was like, oh, there's someone else that looks like my sister and I, because we were pretty exotic considering like the neighborhood we were in. We just, because of our mixture, our multiracial mixture, we just had this exotic look about us. And I was thinking like, oh wow, she kind of looks like us. And so she had like a gypsy, maybe Native American type look. And I remember her wearing this gypsy scarf on her head. And she smiled at me and she's like, "You want to get your palm read?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And she's like, "Well, it's $1." So I said, "Okay, I'll be back. I gotta go ask my mom for $1. I'll be back." So my sister and I, we went back, and I don't think my sister wanted hers read. I don't remember for sure, but I don't think she did. But I was like, "Mom, can I get my palm read? It's $1." So my mom gave me the dollar, and I went back to her tent. So I give her the dollar, and she's like, "Come on in." I sit down, and she's looking at my palm and just telling me different things about school and my personality and, my friends in the neighborhood. And all of a sudden, her eyes get real big and she's like, "Oh my God." And she pulls my palm closer to her and she's like, "Oh my God." And I'm looking at her like, now remember, I'm like 9 years old, and I'm looking at her like, okay, what's going on here? And she's like, "I see so many men. There are so, I mean, oh my God, there's so many. Like thousands of them. And I started like smiling and laughing. And she's like, no, 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 you don't understand. You don't understand. And she grabs both of my hands. She's like, and she's looking like right in my eyes. And she's like, you have to be careful. These men are going to want to use you sexually. They're going to desire you and want you sexually. Be very careful. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. And so I'm like, okay. But at 9, I'm like, ah. Now I'm thinking now in retrospect, what if I put my hands on my hip and I said, so are you calling me a future whore? My little 9-year-old self with my hands on my hip. A little sissy boy that I was. Well, I was pretty effeminate. I'm putting my hands on my hip and saying, excuse me, are you calling me a future whore? Anyway, but she was such, I'll never forget that, her reaction, the look on her face. And so I left and I went back to my mom. I found her. She was somewhere looking at some stuff. And she's like, oh, so what did the fortune teller lady tell you? And even at 9 years old, I knew that I could tell my mom everything else except that. I knew. I was like, oh, well, she told me about school, and she was telling me the type of personality I have, but honey, I didn't dare tell my mom that that lady saw thousands of men in my future that would want me sexually. Oh my God. Anyway, now, that lady, she definitely had the gift. Well, I haven't had thousands of men. Just, well, I should say I haven't had thousands and thousands of men. Just 2,598.5. Typical for a trans girl. No, let me stop. But no, when you think about it, okay, this is the 1970s. Computers weren't around. There was no social media. I mean, so for this woman to be able to see that, because today in the world that we live in, with all of the social media, Facebook and YouTube, Twitter and Instagram and all the different social media outlets, it is very possible for thousands of men literally around the world to look at you and lust after you. And even pursue you. That doesn't mean you're going to be with all of them, but it is possible for that to happen. But in 1970s, there wasn't any of that. So for her to be able to see that was amazing. And of course, I didn't realize it at the time, but now in retrospect, I mean, just truly amazing. And I often think about that lady, and I wonder if she's still here on the planet or if she's transitioned into spirit now. But I often think about her, and I tell you, if I had the opportunity to see that fortune teller woman, I would tell her, you were right, and you really do have the gift.